Okay, you know how to get the data into your visual data tools. Now let's talk about another step in the design, and we're going to use a line chart this time to show you how to create labels, because it's the only one that's a little bit different than using the other methods that we described in the previous tutorial with the bar chart. Like last tutorial, we're improving the design and we're also going to add labels. To do that, we're going to start with the line chart. So I drug the line chart up into our scene tree. We're next going to go into our built-ins, into the container plugins and our visual data tools folder. On the left, we're going to use the data storage, and we're going to click on the data storage plugin to go into the editor, and we're going to change the shared memory from inactive to seen. We're going to come down into our key data 1, and this is going to be our X points. So I'll just come in and increase each one by 10 to lay this out on our X coordinate, and I'll just go up to 60. And we'll call our second set of data points here data 2. And we'll just come in and create some random numbers with this as well. So I just want to create some numbers that are going to kind of give us a wave here. So we have our data enter. We need to go into our line chart. So we're going to go into the line chart plugin, change the shared memory from inactive to seen. Here within our key data Y, we need to make sure that our variables match. So if we jump over to our label here, we had under our key data 2, the label data 2. So we want to change this within our line chart plugin to data 2 instead of data Y, which was the default. We have our data delimiter, the comma, which matches the ones in the label, and you can see it now provides us with a line chart here. Let's just go into our transformation axis editor here. We're going to scale this up and reposition this here. Now before we add the labels, let's go into the line chart again, and a couple of adjustments that we can make. Number one, if we go down towards the middle here, we have a width, so we can spread this width out here. We also have a thickness, so we can make it thicker or thinner, and then a depth. So you don't notice anything with the depth now, but if we go into our server and drag a material on it, any material that has some shading on it, we'll be able to see the depth of it. So we just drag this down and around a little bit, you'll be able to see the depth of it. And if you want to increase it, you can do that as well. With this plugin, you also have the option to change it. So instead of doing a line type linear, we can also change this to spline here. And you notice we have these little ridges in here. Once we change it to spline, we also have a tessellation width that we can increase to kind of smooth out those splines. Now we want to add some labels to this. So what the line chart allows us to do is to create labels that can mark high points, low points, a beginning point, and endpoints. So we're going to create some labels for this, and to do that we're just going to use some built-in primitives. So we'll just come in here and maybe we'll just use a sphere. So we also want to grab a font, so we'll go into our font tabs into one of our folders and grab a font, and we're just going to kind of reposition this at the moment to see it. And then what we want to do is we'll just type in low for now. So we'll use that. Let me just reposition that there. Now I'm going to group both of these together. So I'm going to put these inside of another group, and we're going to label this one low. So we have this grouped. Now we're going to go into our line chart, and within the plugin at the very bottom here we have options for pointer. So we have a low pointer. We can turn this on, and when we turn it on we have a box. So I'm going to drag this group that we just created in there. And now you can see that it adjusts to that low point in the spline. If we want to copy this, and let's rename this high, and we'll go back into our line chart, into the editor, and this time we want the high pointer. So we're going to drag the high container in there, and you can see now it has marks the high point of our line chart. Now obviously from here you may want to throw a different color, and if you needed to scale it down, you can certainly scale these down and or change the labels here. So we could come into our text editor and label this one high if need be. So this is another way to label your charts, and the line chart has the option to mark certain points. So we could do this with the start point or stop point as well. Okay, so we'll just turn one of these off, and like last tutorial, if you wanted to throw a background into the scene here, we have a white background which we could drop in there. And another thing that you could do is also, if you wanted to create a reflection, like instead of a shadow, you can just copy this line chart. You can go into your built-ins, we'll go into the container plugins, and in the global folder, we'll use this expert plugin and drop it on our second line chart. Now we can just come into our mirror and mirror that on the Y. Now you see we didn't have the containers as a sub-container, so that's why it didn't mirror the labels as well. So if you did want to mirror them, you would have to either drag them as a sub-container of your line chart or just drop the expert on them as well. Once you have your expert on there, again, you could use the alpha to simulate a reflection if you want, so you can lower that down if need be. You could open up or split your background. And since this is just an image, you could really just come into your image here and adjust it if need be to create some sort of separation or replace the image altogether. The line charts, once created, will act as any other type of geometry, so you could even come in and group them and then scale them or rotate them further if need be. So it's another way you can enhance your visual data tools using labels and or other plugins within Vizrt.